The Investec Property Fund is a newer offshoot of the Investec Group and owns properties developed by the bank. It has a market cap of 4.9 billion rand, trades on a yield of 6.5%. Again, you're going to perhaps have to take us a step back, or Paul, are you going to take us a step back here?
I wanted to point out why it says it spun off from newer is that, as you may know, Growthpoint, the bigger sector leader in this context, was also originally an Investec-related activity. So, in effect, when those two separated, Investec Bank, with its property development activities, went back to basics, and Sam Leon and Sam Hackner and the guys started all over again. So they've, in pretty quick measure, built up this portfolio, which has got all these retail, industrial, and other commercial assets in there, looking good, growing fast, adding new activities. And it's because the bank has got such an attractive pipeline of development activities, they seem to come up with all these new things all the time.
Evan, from a valuation perspective?
Valuation, it looks fair value, maybe slightly on the expensive side, but the one thing that was stated earlier, the two Sams, and really it comes to management and what they've managed to develop in with regards to initially Growthpoint and now with regards to Investec Property Fund is really something amazing.
Paul, would you be putting your money into this one?
The only reason it's looked tricky to put money into is the liquidity. So it's not been all that easy to buy them. And you often come in looking to pick up a few shares for clients, and then the gap is enormous. Some of the key Investec executives, including others that work in the bank, apparently have got big stakes here.
Is this part of their incentivization program?
Well, one thing about Investec is that they do back themselves and they do provide, facilities for some of their key staff to get involved in the listing process. And I think they did that in this case as well. I don't think that they do the bank. They have to be quite careful, because if the bank has got some development asset going, it's not that they can sell that at a discount into this fund, not at all. If anything, they've got to be careful to make sure that the profits are made where they're deserved. So I just think that the kind of assets that they've been able to do, the kind of team they've got, they bought a portfolio of very attractive retail assets about 18 months ago from the Gurisic family, which had, enormous numbers of premises for mass marts facilities like builders' warehouses and so on, all with long leases, very high quality. So, they just keep on bringing these gems into the portfolio.
So we're talking about industrial here, Evan, skewed to industrial properties?
Mixed. These guys look for value. That's why you've got strong management, and they're not specific to retail, industrial, or office. They look for value, and they manage to find it.
Anything else that we need to take note of, Evan, before I hand it back to Paul?
Well, very
on
recently,
Investec Property Fund.
You could speak about their recent acquisition, about 570 million rands worth of assets from the RPP portfolio, which is mainly office and a little bit of industrial. Over and above that, they've taken a stake in the newly listed Investec Australia, or newly soon to be listed Investec Australia, which we'll speak about later.
We are going to chat a little bit later about Investec Australia property. Paul?
I just wanted to make a more point about the development opportunity. I think the background here is twofold. Firstly, our economy continues to grow. People are still looking for new distribution centers, for new premises. You talk about things like, big cell phone companies needing new campuses and so on and so forth. So that's the additional source of demand. The other thing is that in this country, we've seen a big shift away from pension funds wanting to manage their own property assets, and rather pushing these kinds of players in the market to develop tradable liquid stocks on the market, which in turn have the underlying assets.
But it's the liquidity here that's the real problem.
Not so much anymore. 5-6 billion rands worth with these acquisitions, they're going to issue more capital. They have issued more capital to fund it. I don't think liquidity is our biggest concern. I think it's maybe in the price, and it really is fully priced from our point of view. So maybe that's why I wouldn't be too comfortable buying more.
But Evan, is it one of these stocks that isn't going to get any cheaper?
Potentially, yes. One thing again that stands out is that you spoke before, it's spun out of Investec, and Investec are holding on to a large chunk. They own 50% of the company. So they put in their money where their mouth is.
Paul, hot or not?
I like it. I like the fact that they've got the guys on the helm, and I like the fact that the bank itself keeps, bringing new assets in, and just gives them a great pipeline and a great set of development relationships. So for me, still hot, even at this price.
Evan?
Not too exciting at the moment. I would say not.